What's up, people? How are you doing? I found this video. Honestly, it didn't interest me so much until I put my mouse over it and showed the flag for a city from Brazil, and then I really got interested. She faked a kidnapping, probably to get more views or whatever reason. Maybe some money, but I think it's probably to get famous. This is not the first time this is happening. Not even in Brazil, this is the first time. But I'm very curious what is the case now. I didn't see anyone in Brazil talking about it. So let's watch it. I'm very curious.
This influencer was arrested for faking her own kidnapping, allegedly because she wanted more followers.
What a surprise. Would you expect that from an influencer? Faking something? Someone doing something fake on the internet? How could this possibly happen? This is such a surprise.
Are we serious now? The internet has this ability to always surprise me with how desperate some people are for some basic attention. This person essentially sat down and thought to herself, I need to be interesting enough for some attention. How
Dude, this is not the first time. We saw a lot of times before. People pretend that they got beat up to get more views. Pretend to were sexually forced to act for attention. Yes, this has happened. She admitted to it. Dude, pretending to be kidnapped. It's not something new. There was a police officer doing a rescue mission. He sent the criminals and the victims back just so he can make a video about it. It's crazy how people do for views, bro. You should not be surprised about this.
am I going to do that? Well, I guess I could stage a kidnapping. Why? So meet Monique the
Because views.
Fraga, a 27-year-old content creator from
I mean, he pronounced it pretty well, de Fraga. Pretty well.
Greater Recife area in Pernambuco,
Pernambuco, yeah. You got it right.
Brazil. I can already tell I'm probably going to butcher a whole lot of pronunciations of the Brazilian locations in this video.
He's doing actually pretty well. It's pretty damn close. He has... No, actually pretty perfect. Really good job.
So, show me some mercy, please. I will try my best. But she was running a lifestyle-focused Instagram account, and she was starting to build, a little bit of an audience, along with some local recognition as a creator. But by April 2025, police say that her audience had started to shrink. And according to investigators, that's the context behind everything that followed. Because on April 21st, 2025, my birthday apparently last year, Monique
Ooh, congratulations! Hey, happy birthday!
reported to the police that her and her husband, Lucas Vieira, had been violently
Vieira. Yeah, with an accent. Pretty close.
kidnapped right outside their home.
Monique, what the freak? How? This is how you write her name? What? No, that's not her. It's just... Alright, maybe he changed it so he could get closer to the pronunciation. But that's not how you write this name, bro.
Uh-oh. Her side of the story was detailed
I know there's some weird ways to write names, some random things people do when writing their kids' names. I don't doubt it's real, but it's very unlikely.
and disturbing, to put it lightly. So the two of them were inside their car near their house when three men, armed and masked, surrounded the vehicle and forced them out. The couple was then taken to a forested area where men held them for hours under the threat of torture, demanding a ransom before they would let them go. She said that Lucas was physically attacked during the ordeal.
Oh, what usually is happening here when a kidnapping is they kidnap the person, take them to ATM, draw money, go to the next one, more money, and they keep doing it until their account has zero money. It's called thunder lightning kidnapping, and it's the most common form of kidnapping here because I don't know, they actually tried with the normal kidnapping, so this is the only option criminals have for a kidnapping nowadays. But yeah, they usually are really fast on a kidnapping. Really, from ATM to another just to get money, and they leave.
And the kidnappers initially demanded 100,000 reals, which is roughly 18 grand US. And they were only released
I mean, you're converting it, but no, it's a freaking lot. In Brazil, it's a freaking lot, bro.
after a small fraction of that amount was paid. Now, after everything that happened, Monique did not go quiet. She recorded and posted videos on her social media accounts, walking her followers through the whole experience, visibly shaking, describing the men's approach, what they said, and what the hours in captivity felt like. She also actively reached out to local news outlets, and several of them ran her story. The military police confirmed at the time a ransom had been paid and that the couple were released. An official report was formally filed, and the civil police of Pernambuco opened a criminal investigation. And from what I understand, the Brazilian police is kind of divided into three branches.
Yeah, military, civil, and federal.
The federal, civil, and the military.
Yep, perfect. 3 divisions. Some subdivisions there, depending on the state. Rio has Bopi, and São Paulo has Rota, and some others. There's some, let's say, subdivisions that are more specified. Bopi is like the SWAT from Brazil. They do military operations in Rio. Yeah, it's pretty right.
And the difference between the last two is that the military police are basically the ones who make the patrols and the arrest, while the civil police are the ones who investigate. And for
the civil police also do patrols. I mean, depends on the state. Here where I live, you mostly see the civil police doing patrols, not the military police.
stretch of time, everything seemed like a jam.
But depending on the state, Mario, the military police is the one doing patrols.
Genuine case. She was just a local influencer who had survived something terrible and was being open about it publicly. However, over the following months, as investigators from the GOE, a special operations unit for the civil police, dug deeper into the case, several things just didn't add up. There were contradictions in the testimonies, the dynamics of how the crime supposedly played out, and that raised some red flags. Then there was a specific relationship that investigators uncovered. One of the men who was alleged to have carried out the kidnapping had a prior relationship with Monique herself.
Okay, I heard this. Alright. I was starting to understand what's this mean, but yeah, I know. Oh boy, these YouTube ads are getting out of control. Am I doing the right voice? The right content voice? Dude, I'm so confused right now. I literally just got back home from work. I just took a shower and went straight to recording. I don't know if I'm doing my voice right.
Oh, and according to the GOE, the two hadn't just crossed paths once. No, they were apparently in contact before and after the date of the alleged kidnapping. And that allowed the police officers to piece together this alleged deception. I mean,
it could happen. Someone kidnapped you, but keeping contact after the kidnapping, that's very strange.
It's pretty brazen to think you're gonna get away with something like this as you're keeping in contact with the person who did all of this before and after. Like, come on. Police also...
Before, you can say, oh, I didn't know. These people thought I had money. They knew I had some money, so they kidnapped me for it. But after, keeping contact after is really weird.
Pointing to the prompts used to sell the story, including a stolen car with a cloned VIN and the real firearms during the abduction. And the GEO deputy described these as deliberate choices meant to make the scheme look like a genuine crime, as she was going through a decline on social media. So now you have the investigators identifying at least 4 people who they believe played a role in carrying out the scheme, alongside of Monique. And each of their situations ended up going in a very different direction, to put it lightly. So the first one is Denner da Silva.
Denner? What kind of name? Wait, Danielle? Oh, it might be Danielle. No, it can't be Denner. Dude, I never heard someone the name Denner in Brazil. I know this is not important, but I never heard someone with this name in Brazil. But consider the way he wrote Monique, I don't freaking know.
Is Monique's former partner and the man described as the leader of the operation. By the time the arrest warrant came through, Denner was already sitting in jail on a separate homicide charge. Hold up, okay. So he was formally charged in the kidnapping case as well, while already behind bars. And the second man
Welcome to Brazil. Welcome to Brazil, but that's all I can say.
identified was Caio de Santana, who...
Yeah. That they might know. I haven't. I met a dude with this name before.
Allegedly drove the car used to move the couple in this alleged abduction. Kaio, he never made it to trial as his life was taken in another city in the greater Recife area. Exactly
Again, welcome to Brazil, bro. This is not uncommon.
1 week before the operation was carried out. So, yeah. Then you had a third guy in the car during the kidnapping, but police have not yet been able to identify him. And then apparently there was a fourth person on the investigators' radar who is someone who's suspected of receiving a share of the ransom money after everything played out, and who was essentially based in a completely different city in a state of Sao Paulo. And just to put this,
Dude, it's like a few countries difference in distance. Brazil's a very big country. The distance from Recife and São Paulo is huge. But you know what else is huge? Anyway, it's a pretty damn big difference. Distance. Like pretty damn big, bro. It's like across the entire country. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. I don't know my geography. But it's a pretty damn big distance.
in perspective, where the kidnapping happened and where
Yeah, pretty big difference. Pretty damn big. This is Recife and this is São Paulo. Yep. No, São Paulo should be around here. Yeah. No? Oh, right. The map is confusing. There's Paraná right here. Belo Horizonte right here. Yeah, São Paulo's right here. And Recife is around here. Yeah, pretty big distance.
this guy was based, are like on the other sides of the country. Like that's a road trip and a half to get there. But according to the police, the kidnapper's initial ransom call was made to Monique's own mother. The men demanded money for her daughter's release, and the lady, with no reason to believe any of this wasn't real, made a bank transfer to the account they provided. And even
I mean, depends on the state, but we got some calls like this before. In my family, we got a call like this because they steal your phone and make a call to your family, say, "Hey, we got your daughter here, we got your son," and they put a random person on the phone screaming, say, "Oh, mommy, help me, please, mommy," and stuff like that. It's fake, of course, but yeah, you can trick some people if you're not paying attention, if you don't know that this happens.
though the initial demand was 100,000 reals, Monique's mom ended up paying just 6,000, which is $1,162 in today's currency. And
6,000. Minimum wage here is 1,000 something. So yeah, 6 minimum wages, bro. That's a lot, especially because most people here are of low income. So yeah, it's a lot. 6,000 is a lot.
that account was the link that they would trace later to the Sao Paulo state, which led to the fourth search warrant. Also, who in their right mind is using their real bank account for something like this? So essentially, did they do
A dumbass,
all of this
not an actual criminal. Not a criminal that is used to this.
for, a social media play for the daughter and to scam her mother? The real victims in all of this was Monique's mother and Lucas, her husband. If this is true, what an awful person.
Wait, he was not involved in this? I thought he was involved as well. Damn, poor guy, bro.
Scamming her mother and her husband for some attention on the internet. Are you serious? But again, that is if this is all true, because Monique's defense takes a little bit of a different approach. So she's arguing the money was a loan, not extortion, intended only to secure the ransom, and that it was repaid afterwards. And that's now, I guess, a part of this legal dispute. I don't know about you guys, but a forced loan would still be theft. But I guess
It is theft.
the worst part is this isn't even something that got lost in translation. This is translated as accurately as possible. Because yes, I hired a Brazilian researcher to help me with this story,
It was me. All along, it was me.
because all of this is in Portuguese. So shout out Gustavo. But
My name is not Gustavo, or is saying my wrong name, bro. After all we did together, after the nights we spent together, after a long night in our car, you betrayed me, you cheater.
on the morning of March 24th, 2026, nearly 11 months after the kidnapping was reported, the civil police of Pernambuco launched what they called Operation Curtain of Lights. Come to think about it, I should have probably asked Gustavo how to pronounce most of these names.
Cortina de Lakis or something like this. Cortina de Curtidas, maybe?
Here. We'll get him next time, Gustavo. But 30 officers took part in this operation and executing 2 arrest warrants with 2 search and seizure warrants across multiple locations: the greater Recife area, the capital of neighboring state, Pernambuco, and Sao Paulo. Monique was arrested in her home early that morning, and then she was brought to the GOE headquarters, then taken to the Legal Medicine Institute for forensic examination. And the charges
Okay, let me write. Yeah, Cortina de Lakis. A police operation, arrest influencer. As okay, criminal squad. Alright, basically involved to a criminal squad. Basically, arrest influencer involved with the criminal squad or something like this.
Then taken to the Legal Medicine Institute for forensic examination. And the charges on the table for her are now extortion, procedural fraud, and false crime reporting. But Monique's attorney, in an interview, called the case a legal aberration and framed it as a media-driven stunt rather than a legitimate investigation. So I guess his position is straightforward. The kidnapping happened and the client had nothing to do with planning it. In his words, she had no need for engagement or likes. She also had no reason to keep the 6,000 reals. It was essentially a kidnapping carried out by amateurs, and she was not involved in organizing it. He also pushed for Monique to be...
I mean, it's fair, we can clearly see amateurs. If she was involved or not, that is something. It could happen. She could be involved, she could not be involved. We never know. I mean, we can't know. There is a truth about this. But we don't know yet. If I believe her, I honestly not really. But that it is possible, yeah, because I mean, keeping contact with the guy after, it's very suspicious. It bends the balance towards her being involved with this. It's not 100% sure, but it's very likely she was involved with this.
Transferred to house arrest, arguing that she has young children, but as of the time of the video, a decision on that request is still pending, and Monique herself hasn't really made any public statements since her arrest.
I mean, you can, if the kid's like 13 years old max, I think. You can get arousal arrest if your kid is 13 years old or less.
So I mean, if all of this is true, what a waste. 30 police officers, cross-state coordination, nearly a year of investigative work, and all of this was triggered, I guess if the police was right, by someone who simply wanted more followers on social media? Really? I'm still trying to connect the dots on how someone comes to this conclusion.
I'm getting to the connecting the dots on why, and most importantly, what do you mean numbers going down? She was getting less views? But how big of an influencer she is where views matter that much? I have a video with 2,000 views, another with 1. It's not a big difference, not a big deal. Especially at my size. So how big was she? Because there's a lot of influencers here. I know I probably don't know her. But even if she had like 10 million, I would not know her. But how many was she losing? And why did it matter she was saying she was kidnapped? How much of a difference did it make to her followers numbers? It's weird, bro. It's very weird. Not only the kidnapping part, but dude, the fact that she came to this conclusion after losing followers. If she's a big influencer, she should be used to losing followers, losing numbers. So what exactly happened? Why did she come to this conclusion? It's very weird, bro.
Of doing something this brazen for some attention online. Like, did she really think she was gonna get away with this? I guess so. But wow, maybe the plan wasn't to go viral with a kidnapping video. Maybe it was like a 2-step play. First, become the news story, then ride the coattail of that newcome fame with all the videos.
Not a lot of people watch news here, and I never heard of this case before, so really, no one is talking about this. Okay, no one in my bubble of Brazilian content is talking about this. Really, that was the only guy I watched that talked about this. So it didn't reach everyone, so I really don't know, bro.
saying, hey, look, this is what happened when I got kidnapped, which, you know, seems like what she did. Because I mean, like, if you're just thinking about it, you know, local lifestyle creator with barely 30,000 followers, she's not gonna like blow up from posting food pictures, but
30,000, bro. It's okay. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Not a whole huge amount of followers, but that's like to scoff at. She should be used to numbers going down. What happened? Really, what happened that made the numbers go down? It made her take this extreme decision. What is the line of thought around this, bro?
a local woman who survived a brutal kidnapping and is now openly talking about it, suddenly news outlets, they're interested. They're running the story, they're putting her face on the pages, and now all those readers, people watching TV, are like one tap away from her profile. And then obviously she followed it up with all this content, visibly shaken, walking her audience through every detail of what happened. So I mean, if the police are right here, was that the goal? But also, I can't really see that being very sustainable because people just move on. But as it's
Yeah, but that's something that happened before. It happened before, so someone getting to this line of thought, it's not impossible. It really isn't, because it happened before. So really, this could be the same situation again. We never know, bro.
And there seems to be two completely different versions of what happened in the greater Recife area on April 21st of last year. While police say the evidence points
Last year, bro, I didn't know this happened. Really, no one talked about this.
clearly towards a staged crime, the defense says the kidnapping was real and the woman was a victim. So that's a question they'll figure out in court, but I guess whoever named this operation Curtain of Likes had already made their opinion pretty clear. But either way, feel free to subscribe if you're new here.
I mean, they always just some ridiculous names for operations here. It's a big part of the retail behind the operation. It's really fun. There's some very creative names, bro. I really like it. It's really fun to, you see news about a police operation, you see the name, it's something absurdly funny. But yeah, if she planned this or not, I mean, okay, let's be real here. This is Brazil. If she really planned this, she's not going to jail. Because this is probably her first crime. She's not going to jail, bro. Get used to this. Welcome to Brazilian Justice, bad guys. Anyway, I guess that's it. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.